Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Last Mile. If you're wondering where the Curry intro came from, yeah, I mean it's been around forever, but I'm giving them that plug today because we'll get into that. They came back a little bit, so but Curry's always been good to me. There's no paid affiliation. I do know everybody over at that company, and some of you accuse me of owning that company. Wish I did, but I didn't. But I don't, and I do have a lot of connections over there. For the market I'm in, it's what I prefer to work on. And that's why we do the last mile here. The last mile, if you guys have never caught this before, it's something I do only on YouTube. And remember that those of you out there that watch on YouTube or whatever, we have the audio. I have the audio podcast. I have the TikTok channel. I have Twitter presence. There's always a link in the show that's like an e-tree link that if you click it, it's just kind of like pick your poison for a platform. It'll take you right to the platform there. Like I'm not a fan of the Facebook platform. However, I do populate some stuff over there. I wish I could do more. I can't stand the Facebook platform. Sorry. I just can't. But we do have success on a lot of other fronts, and one of them being the audio podcast, which is the most downloaded audio podcast in the world regarding the gig economy. And I did not say gig app-based economy or any of the niches, just gig economy, which is really great, as rated by Good Pods in 2024. We'll have to see how they rate me this year, but hey, I'll take it. So for those watching on YouTube, this is usually a community where we get together and we try and talk about off-brand apps, how people are doing. So today we're going to do I've got a couple little punchlines here of the topics that we'll roll through. A little bit of a Curry comeback. Had a couple of tough weeks here in my market. The Rodeo show, it's a road show. We're going to discuss that a little bit. The pulse on your market. So we're going to do some interactive talking, how you guys are doing. It's been a rough couple of weeks for me. The May riding into June went longer than normal, so that was good. But the last couple of weeks have been really not only disgustingly hot outside, but they've been tough. They've been, especially for just gig app stuff. And then we're going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, we have another win. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to explain a little brief part of it near the end of this. But it will be the subject of 13 this week. I'm stoked about it, but there's a lot more to it than we'll get into here today. Because this is YouTube only. What's up, guys? Hey, Traveler. What's up, Bubba Sue? What's up, David? And what's up, Giggin? Giggin and I are trying to get together a golf tournament in we were trying for Ogallala, Nebraska, but we're now trying for Lincoln, Nebraska, because I think that for him and I, it's about equal. I know it's in the middle of nowhere, guys, but we're talking about having this golf open. Happens to be the band that I play all the time when I'm in the car, and you guys are like, what is that music? Because I've turned all you on to it. Lettuce happens to be playing in Lincoln that night. So we're going to see if we can actually put together something. I don't care if it's just Giggin and I. We're going to see, like, I mean, it is in the middle of nowhere, but hey, you never know. But yeah, I do want to talk about, I want you guys in the chat too. This is why I love this. It isn't on other platforms. Sometimes I release it to the audio podcast listeners. It depends on how many screenshots we're showing. And today I'm not. I don't even have any lined up. A lot of times on Last Mile, I'll show you guys, hey, look at, here were my Curry offers. Here were my Dispatch offers. Here were my Metrobi offers. Or I usually won't show them, but I'll say, let me talk about the Rodeo offers. And again, I will state, guys, I hate Rodeo. I hate it. It can't make me money, but I love Rodeo. I think most of you already know where I'm going with this one. We'll plug it anyway. Rodeo is completely transparent. Their offers suck. Again, my market, Denver, Colorado, and I know most gig workers in this market who are really, truly veteran at this, been doing it for a while. But I'll say this, their orders suck. They suck. But Rodeo has never lied to me. It's like Curry. When they offer me something, here it is. Here's all the details. Sometimes the customer on the Curry side doesn't put in details quite right, but that's not a Curry thing. That's just the way that they developed the app so that the customer is able to do stuff. And because it's B2B stuff, it's kind of expected that Curry shippers would know how to put in dimensions. They deal with this stuff all the day, weights, stuff like that. Sometimes they get a little, they need a hot shot done. So they just kind of are like, well, here's the total weight and it'll fit in your car. So, there's whatever. At the end of the day, it's all transparent though. They're telling you, here's how much pay, here's where you're picking up, here's where you're dropping off. It's now or it's scheduled. Rodeo does the same thing. I can go on Rodeo at any time and I can go, okay, cool. Look, I'm going to open it up. Hey, let's zoom in on something, touch it and see it's 62 Best Buy deliveries for $5 and it's going to take me 17 hours. No thanks. But they don't lie to me. And they don't have a metric saying, oh, you didn't take that, so we're going to hold it against you. They don't care. It's like an open marketplace for gigs. It's like a load board or like a trucker, like a 18-wheeler trucker would go to a broker. Sometimes brokers or load boards don't give you as much information as Rodeo or Curry. God, I can't believe I just put Rodeo and Curry in the same sentence. But anyway, I can say this. I always know I've done more Curries than anybody in the SUV or smaller category. I know there's the people like Gig Geezer and stuff, and I mean he's not up there with the Curries like that, but he does Sprinter van, cargo van. He's got a bunch. He's got pickup with trailer. I know that David Roth here in the chat, I know he has some of those abilities as well. So in the bigger classes, no, there's two different. There's the offer side, and then there's the bidding side where it just comes through and it's like, hey, do you want this for this? Again, complete transparency, guys. I don't pick on the complete transparency apps. You want to know why? Because it's none of my business how they run their business. But if they're being fair and honest and upfront, it is my choice. There's a lot of bad offers out there in the world. There's a lot of bad jobs out there in the world that pay minimum wage or less. I mean, when I say or less, I'm thinking about what it should be in their state, because let's face it, the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. I mean, this is a perfect example of how laws get dated. $7.25 an hour. You can't live anywhere for that. You can't live out of your car for that. Come on. By the time taxes are taken out, luckily, and that's my point, most places that still have that base set, like Texas, still would, if they needed to, anybody could, but they would go to the federal one and they would say, hey, $7.25 is minimum wage. No, I mean, really it should be $15 to $17. And so therefore most places that hire in Texas or other places are going to hire at 15 to 17. That's all I'm really getting at here. But for the last couple of weeks, and again, for 5 years, I have done more Curries than anybody. And I've even done the long hauls. I've done Montana. I've done Utah twice. I've done Albuquerque. I've done Kansas twice. I take the long ones. I don't mind the long ones. I like them. If I can make sense of them, I like them. And one of the Utah ones was during snowboard season. I mean, dude, win for me across the board. So, but the last couple of weeks have been a little bit, the offers that come out, those of us that do Curry in this market, we know what to take, what not to take, blah, blah, blah. We just know. Okay. And I even see people at locations. The B2B thing makes it a little bit cooler because I really do see most of the drivers who do Curry know me in Denver. We see each other at all the same locations. We're doing pickups at HVAC, electrical, plumbing, these kind of places. And I see them all the time. And we know not to take certain amounts. Some people have different delimiters than I might or whatever, but you don't take anything, period, under $1 a mile. They had been dropping a couple of those. I know that's when they're onboarding new people, but then that flushes out. And, and we went through one of those just recently. I don't know if it was like, there was still some order volume. It had gone down a little bit from what it had, but then all of them were being swiped up too. This week it's back to, back to almost $2 a mile. And I'll take those all day with Curry because those are long trips. They pay well, get great write-offs. And again, you're not putting near as much wear and tear on your car when you're on the highway. And also, any insurance agent will tell you that you are much better off putting on A, highway miles, but B, you're much safer being on the highway. Most accidents happen in your neck of the woods, in your zone, not gig app zone, but where you live, where you're driving often on city streets. That's where accidents happen. So I get to kick on some tunes, cruise, make some money, and then I look at Rodeo when I get somewhere. If I can't find another curry back or another whatever back from where I went to, that's when I look at Rodeo. And I'm like, are there any deliveries that even half make sense, since I'm going back that way anyway? And I might pick them up. And some of you might say, but see, there you are participating in the low paying. No, I'm doing me. And because they're completely transparent, Rodeo has a thing, and those of you on it will know this. They don't ever raise the price. So like if I'm a booker and if I need something done on Rodeo and I get on it and I say, okay, I need this delivered today, then that's the price. I'm going to set it. I'm going to post it. That's it. And at the end of the day, if nobody took it, it will just get pulled down, like almost like a Craigslist ad. It's just gone. It's like, okay, nobody took that. So it's also not ever guaranteed on either side it's going to happen. I do see that in the morning when my Rodeo populates, it's populated everywhere. A couple pop up throughout the day, but it's major in the morning. There's a ton. They're all crap. But the least crappiest of them get taken. By like midday, there's still the same ones from 4 hours ago sitting on there that are just crap. But they usually do get taken. I mean, at some point, somebody takes them. So, let me see what is, hey, Derek, how you doing? What is Gigan saying here? I'll still argue they do raise the prices. Well, I mean, are you saying Rodeo? They might. I mean, that's up to the booker. The booker can get back into their side and say, you know what? Why it's been 4 hours. Why has nobody picked up this order? Well, because you offered it for $1. Why don't you put that for $50 and then see if somebody takes it? And they still won't go up to that. However, you know what I mean? They'll go up to, I don't know, they'll go up to something, or they don't. Again, they get taken. The thing that would bother me if I used Rodeo and counted, if I was somebody using Rodeo, not in terms of working it, I'd be pissed because you're using these apps to fast track a delivery. Like on Curry, they're called hot shots, and that's why they pay better and whatnot. But on Curry, they're called hot shots. They should be called hot shots on Rodeo too. The problem is that a hot shot means this needs to be delivered right now. Get it out. Well, okay, I'm not taking it for that. So what does the customer think when they're like, dude, this is supposed to be a hot shot. Why don't I have it? Well, because we only offered the drivers $1. They don't seem to be liking that amount. They're not taking it. So don't take it, So I will say that. So maybe they do. Maybe they do raise a little bit of the price, but that's on the booker's end. I mean, to me, it's a weird system. I'm just not against any app that is transparent and doesn't have metrics against me. If they're just showing offers, just like a load board or like a booker would, like a booker for an 18-wheel trucker, independent operator owner, 18-wheeler. They go through bookers. They go through load boards. I go through load boards. When I'm somewhere, like when I've gone to Kansas and stuff, on the way to Kansas, I'm looking on a load board for something from Kansas coming even back to Denver or even halfway back or whatever. Because those load boards can be helpful. They're never like the highest paying ones, but they're people who need jobs done. And that's how a lot of the owner operator truckers work. So be transparent. I ain't got a problem with you. So the Rodeo Road Show is actually looking like it might be a thing. So next week, I'm hoping all this comes together as it should, as I'm outlining right now. Next week, I am looking at some point next week leaving for Pagosa Springs, Durango, and the Telluride area, and Ouray, but I don't think Ouray will have anything. But I'll be basing out of Durango, maybe do 2 or 3 days down there, and I'll be working that market, and I'll show you guys, because what works for me here in Denver probably isn't going to work for me down there. Now, I go to Durango a lot. Some of my best friends live there. It's a long drive from Denver. It's about 5-6 hours. But I will be basing out of there. And then that's kind of test one. And then I want to do one more of those in the state to the other part of the state, like Steamboat, Summit County, and maybe like Vail Beaver Creek, and later in this or in early August, and see how that does. And then after my son goes to college, I would like to do this where I get on the road and go see some markets. I got places to stay in big cities that I would probably go to and check out. And I'm just trying to align myself with a couple other things to kind of give that real market to market sense. I mean, maybe I get there and go, holy crap, man, I'm going to have to use DoorDash. Can't believe this. But I am looking forward to that. I think it could be really cool. It will be like the old last mile, or the old last miles were like this. Then I went to lives and they could run 8-10 hours. A lot of you guys sat in there with me. It would be a whole day of me working. Well, this will be like that. You know, it might not be those whole 8-10 hours, but it'll be like a block of hours in a city. And I'm also, while I'm in these cities, part of this reason is to get people behind some of the legislation, which was a win for us yesterday, a huge one. And guys, again, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit, along with many other people, because this stuff that everybody's, you know, what difference does it make? Well, I've been showing you. In Colorado, we made a difference. We fought for transparency. We got it. They wanted, there were some people in Colorado who wanted the dash cam law. I hate this, but I had to decide with Uber on that one. I thought the dash cam law was absolutely horrible. It was taking away from my privacy rights. I have a dash cam. I don't need Uber to be holding my footage. And there was a lot more to that. But in my account, we beat that too. Some people wanted it. I didn't. So in my book, I was part of the vocal piece that beat that. And as we all know, as Stephanie said here on the podcast, in those hearings, my podcast was referenced 5 different times on the Senate floor. So we already know, we've had many people come on here. They listen to the podcast. I don't know if they're listening to audio or these or which ones, how they pick what, but they listen, you know, and so good for them, because they should be listening, because we do put out information here about how it really feels to be in this space, and, you know, all the different things that we face. And, but at the same time, transparency. Forget all these fake minimum wage. And again, guys, I'll just put this real simply, because I'm not going to go down the argument again, because I've had it so many times on here. If you were to search Rideshare Rodeo Prop 22 on YouTube, since this is a YouTube only show, and I know that I can speak directly to you. If I were to if you were to search Rideshare Rodeo and Prop 22, you're going to see a bunch of videos. Look through them. Watch the ones with Karen Anderson and I. Watch the ones with other people and I. We're discussing exactly what it is, because I know a lot of people really liked that model. Few people even still say, it's something. It's not something. You guys got screwed. And there are more people, out of the small percentage of people that wanted it and who really kicked it through, weren't long-term thinking. And now they're like wanting to unionize and organize. Well, that's the only right that you gave the Flex Association, was that you wouldn't do that. And for that, they traded you a fake minimum wage. The biggest part about it was and here's, again, I know that it's not a lot of your fault, but I want you to all understand that Prop 22 actually has the term, or they're using the term active time, which again is, I mean, we might as well be talking about unicorns, because they don't exist either. And neither does active time. Active time is a metric you can keep on yourself, but when you walk out your door until you come home at night, that's your active time. It's called, in my life, it's called real time. You can look at a watch when you leave. You can look at a watch when you come home. That's how long you worked. Now, how much did you make? Well, but no, I don't care how much you were active on A, B, C, or D. No, I don't care. How much did you make in the 12 hours you were gone? Well, I don't want to hear your active time. And that's what happened with Prop 22. Active time, this fake term, got caught up in their language. And people don't realize, in the beginning, people were scamming it too. So people were taking and dirty stacking orders. For those that know what that is, they'd take a Instacart and they'd take a Grubhub and a DoorDash, or I don't want to pin it on anybody because they were doing it with all of them. And then they would be getting paid active time on all three. They have now synergized that a bit, and they actually are doing data sharing, and they're doing it through argyle.io. So even if you haven't seen it happen yet, you're gonna, because argyle.io is the number one data capture company in the country. So they're going to be all over any of you guys trying to double time your time, and they're going to start just removing it from that Prop 22 check too. But here's my question. Out of the small percentage of drivers who really fought for Prop 22, why are more than half of them writing or showing up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in California to say, we don't want this anymore? That was the only thing you wanted. Now you don't want it anymore? Because it doesn't work. Again, the active time, fake term, right? Well, why are you being, so you're giving control, you're pissed at this company. So let's use DoorDash because I hate them. You're pissed at DoorDash, right? DoorDash is just screwing with me all the time. I just want to make 120% of minimum wage, but in active time mode. Meaning, if you work 10 hours, you're not getting 120% of minimum wage for 10 hours. You're getting 120% of minimum wage for the fake active time you worked while on the platform. Now, this same platform that you hate, DoorDash, and you're like, now I'm sticking it to you. You gotta do this. No, they don't. They can say, hey, only give that dude 60% active time per hour, even if there's more work. Give it to another person. So now they can scatter it out. They've just learned a different way to manipulate it. Just scatter it out so more drivers get more. But he used to have 80% average of his time was kept active. He was a good DoorDasher. Right. Well, these idiots pushed for this. So now he can only have 60% because we got to spread the wealth. And again, the wealth isn't really the wealth, because if you go out for 10 hours and you're active for 6, who cares if you're getting paid 120% of the minimum wage, which in California varies from 16 all the way up to $20 in San Francisco, but most places are 16. Even down, a lot of the people we know in the LA market live in like Riverside and other areas like that. Minimum wage down there is $16 an hour. You do 120% of $16 an hour and you are active. Again, I hate it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Again, you're active for 6 hours and you're not for 4, but you were out for 10. You didn't just make 120% of minimum wage. If you do that math, you're going to see you made way less than minimum wage. So again, and the perks have been destroyed. I mean, the perks have really been destroyed because it happened in the beginning, but I had so many, more than ever this year, emailing me and contacting me in whatever way, saying, wait a minute, how come I can get I just got a better medical plan through Cal Marketplace than I did through the Uber or the Prop 22 or you have to do 30 hours a week and then we give you this perk of medical. Well, that perk of medical is an overpriced plan that you can get yourself on Marketplace with a nice pink bow that says Uber on it, just to make it look pretty for you. People got turned on to that. They can go get cheaper insurance for themselves in Marketplace. So, I mean, yeah, Marketplace is a small window. What is it? Middle of November until end of the year. It's a 6-week window. But if you capture your medical insurance during that period, you can get it way cheaper than this Prop 22 crap. That said, again, the rodeo show, we're going to be talking about that more. I'm stoked about it. And then I wanted to jump over here and see the pulse on your market. What up, Kagan Plays? What's up, Roy? Hey, Bozo. I love how you guys are just so kind in your words. What's up, Josh? Hot shots equal charity. Hot shots depends on the hot shot, doesn't it? I mean, everything's a hot shot, bro. So yeah. Hey, thanks, Derek. I mean, honestly, I've been thinking about doing it for a while. And I mean, like, will I make it to south tip of Florida? No, I know a lot of people down there and I'd love to, but no, that's not I'm not going worldwide. But I'm gonna try and, like, I'd like to hit like the northwest or the northwest first. Because starting from like Salt Lake City, Reno, Sacramento. I don't think I'd get over to San Francisco because I know the mess, and then kind of work up through in there and maybe back down. That'd be one. Maybe the southeast. Who knows? It's just something that would be a lot of fun. Um, but the last 2 weeks, and if not more, how I'm curious how you guys in here, Josh, Bubba Sue, Derek, anybody that wants to in here gigging, are you guys earning okay? Are you earning okay? Like, how else can I word this? I don't want to say like better than last summer because I don't. Again, people, I've talked to people. When you say summer slowdown, I talk to people who only can optimize gig work 3 to 4 months a year and only during the summer because they're in boating areas of Michigan and stuff. It's the popping time of year and the rest of it's just frozen and nobody uses the damn app anyway because nobody's visiting up there. So there's the opposite of summer slowdown too. There's summer slowdown. No, no, no. We only have a summer market. So, you know, I see Traveler saying I'm okay with flex. So I'm assuming that means that in Traveler's market, and I know I'm familiar with where he is and what he does. I'm assuming that means that I know he was doing flex before, he's doing it now. So maybe it's just still the same. To me, at the point that we're at with a lot of things, that's pretty good. I'll be honest, that's pretty good. If you're doing okay, I mean, this is that time where a lot of people get like all crazy and like I can't make it work. Because one thing I was going to say to people too is like a lot of people like to say, "Hey man, I'm multi-app," but I've been doing some checking in with some people, and most people are on a lot of apps, but they're not multi-apping. There might be times that they go, you know what? Let me bring in this. Okay, I'm still not getting anything. Let me bring in this one. So they might be on 5 or 7 apps, but most people focus on one app. And by that I mean they don't even I know a lot of you might not, but they focus on one app. And if that app starts to not produce 85% of their income, they might start turning on others. So they are multi-app ready, but they're not multi-apping really. They're counting on the one app. I'll pick on DoorDash again. I know a lot of people on DoorDash who are onboarded and have done other orders on Instacart, Grubhub, Walmart, Spark, whatever, but they focus on DoorDash. They only turn those others on if they get in a real jam or they're like, why am I not getting anything? I'll turn these on. So true multi-apping is having them all on and really watching for what's the best offer at any given time. Because in the end, it all comes down to money, doesn't it? So I want to see this. Okay, Gigan. Man, you would leave it alone one that I have to read. Let me see. I'm doing awful. The last 2 months combo of my flex has tanked pay rates. Food delivery has flopped. Heat wave. Yep. And my W2 busiest in our history. And I'm putting in 50 hours a week with them. I forget, Gigan. Are you salary? Because I've been salary. I mean, trust me, I've been there. And maybe you're not as abused as some, but like my salary position in 96 and 97 was for a laser company. And I've said this before. Yes, if you break down, I traveled the globe, not only those years, but the years to follow too. But I traveled the globe doing production work. But when I was in Miami, I would do 50 hours. When I wasn't, I was on the road. Man, I mean, to me, really, it you get a dark day here and there, but when you're doing production, you load in, you do the show, you load out, you're on the road. You get a per diem, you get a hotel to stay in, you're traveling by bus or plane. I mean, all these things. So you're really on the move so much. It's not like well, I only had to work 8 hours at the production today. Like it's not like that, because you're really like always beat, and you're in some country where you don't even know where you are or what to do, and you're tired, and unless you have a dark day the following day, those are really the only days you'd go out. The rest of the time you're just kind of sleeping and trying to play catch up. But yeah, oh, you are a salary. Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure it works out for you, Gigan, because I know that you understand money, and you wouldn't work for this company if they didn't treat you right. So, oh, let's see. And Bubba Sue, did I even see how you're doing? Okay, oh, here. I'm doing okay. Catering and Spark mostly. So, okay, by okay, has the rest of the year been okay? Is it the same as, like, I don't want to say January, we'll say February. February till now, are you feeling like it's all been okay? Because it's been a tough year. So by that, I'm asking that for a reason, because I'm trying to get to the bottom of some things here myself. Yeah, so that's Traveler. I mean, like when I had my salary job, if I were to break down those hours, if I were to break down the hours I worked, I don't even know how I'd do it when I was out of country. Because if I was gone for 3 weeks doing a show in Panama, or one traveling somewhere, how do I break those hours down? Because that's 3 weeks away from my life. And I don't have a life while I'm on the road. I mean, you can look at that. You can look at that extra, you can look at your per diem money like that. It does add up too. $100 a day to live when you're out of country and you're out for 21 days. That's 2,100 extra bucks, and you never need it because food is always on the set. You're treated like that, like what? But I had no way to figure that out. And if I ever did, whoa, dude, my hourly pay would come down so far it would be ridiculous. But in those 2 years that I was salary, I learned everything about the industry, and I was able to stop working that. And to this day, in 96 and 97, a guy took a chance on me, gave me a salary position. The salary was sounded great. He told me all that was going to be entailed, but I had to live through it. During that time, I also got a lot of certifications, and I got known in the industry. And after those 2 years, I was able to go, hey, Tom, I think I'd be better if I independent contracted for you than was salary. And he's like, oh, absolutely you would. He's like, but you couldn't have independent contracted for me before you were certified and everything. So okay, like a journeyman. For those of you that know about like electrical and things like that. So you can go to I mean, you still might have to anyway, but you could go to school for 12, 18 months and become an electrician. But you're still going to have to do some journeyman, but you could do all of it through a journeyman. So you could do this, somebody could be teaching you at a reduced rate. And I don't think it's them taking advantage of you. It's them realizing, man, to have you on my staff, I need to be there and oversee you not getting electrocuted all the time, make sure you know everything. So it's taking a little time off me. They're not like, sweet, a newbie that I don't have to pay right. Like these are different scenarios. So if there's an advantage to it, to me, there was. But it was funny when I actually went to Tom, my boss at the time, for salary position. Here it was 96, 97, somewhere in 98. I said, I think I'd be better off independent contracting. He goes, yeah, you absolutely would. Because it also was, I had met a lot of other people. And when I had some downtime, we worked with pyrotechnics companies and lighting companies and sound and staging. I was getting other offers from people I had met along the way. But I couldn't do that because I was a salaried employee. But he was fine with that because most of the people who worked for the company were independent contractors. So therefore, he didn't really care. He was like, hey man, I kind of figured this is where you'd go. And we're great friends to this day. I still work for him. I mean, like I think the world of this guy. He actually helped mentor me into so many different things and exposed me to so much. So it's all in how you look at it. But with the gig apps, we sure need something here. And I guess I really want to take a minute to jump into this, you guys. And it's going to be 13 this week, but we did have a win yesterday. And I want to address this because it's really cool. Next week on The Conversation, I have Mr. John Lopez, and I'll plug that in a minute because it's going to be really good for all of you to hear. So far, The Conversation, it has moved date, like it was on just Thursdays. Now, next week is going to be on Tuesday, but I haven't had an episode that hasn't been just pure fire, worth listening to every portion of it. And I think that's what I'm trying to keep it at. So, John, this is when we could fit him in. We're going to do it because that conversation is huge, but we'll get into that in a second. I want to give some thanks because, and again, full video on 13 about this, but this is not these. Again, I don't live in 3 states. In fact, the states I'm about to list, I don't live in any of them. So, but I'm going to give these are U.S. senators. These are not state senators, but I'm going to give them major kudos. And the first one, when I mention it, I want you to know that he carried this bill. And so actually I see Bobby in there. Bobby, I haven't read your comments yet, but how you doing, brother? But Bobby, so state of Louisiana, your U.S. senator is Bill Cassidy. Bill Cassidy pushed a bill through that majorly helps the cause I'm fighting for, and he's putting it on a federal level. This happened yesterday. No, it's been happening behind the scenes, but I want you guys to understand when you say anybody that says to me, now I got proof, and it's not from this, it's from before. I mean, I've had proof, but I love the fact that more proof and more proof keeps coming in, because for a long time I was beating a dead horse, trying to say, hey man, we need to solidify that we're an independent contractor. We need to do, I needed some proof and meat behind that to show you guys, no, this is real, man. So what did we do? We got Colorado to change the law. And by that, I mean, we were this close to a session ending where the original bill Stephanie V. Hill from the House in Colorado had pushed through had food delivery and rideshare in one bill. They didn't like that. And we actually came to understand that. We did the town hall here, and Senator Kevin Priola from Colorado showed up. Senator Kevin Priola was opposed to Stephanie's bill. He came and listened to all of this. Since we've had many conversations, he actually switched his view because they were this ready. They were like, Stephanie's bill on transparency, that's not even worth looking at. Kick it down the road. They were this close to signing us into Prop 22. We begged, pleaded, we showed him in masses what we did not want. And many times was mentioned between many of the lawmakers I speak with here in Colorado, many times was mentioned of, well, the people we've heard from want to be employees and unions. Okay, well, every one of these gig apps that has started up that allows us to do this work with flexibility, all originated their business plan on, if it ever comes to W-2, we close shop. It is that easy. If you don't think so, think it through, guys. Think it through. Think of the churn rate on drivers. Some drivers, I mean, there was an article or a study done about DoorDash that over 20% of drivers that do DoorDash do less than 2 hours before they stop doing it and never do it again. So that means that about 20% of the drivers who onboard to DoorDash turn it on and I'm like, I'm going to give this a try. Try it for 2 hours and they're like, I'm done. Never doing this again. So, okay. Yeah. But so let's get into this shout out, because I was writing to the state lawmakers and especially a couple aides in Louisiana who on the state level, I was saying what we had accomplished here in Colorado, because they were going for a Prop 22. And I was saying, no, and they were getting involved in our Zoom meetings. They've been in our Zoom meetings. I mean, the more that come into the Zoom meetings have multiplied by 3 to 4 times per week. Like last week, we had over 60 people in that meeting. So there were people from Louisiana in there and a couple of aides, and they've been communicating with me. We're getting somewhere. And I have to put everything on the back burner for the states of the people that say, hey, why don't you talk to this state? First, I have to look at it and see, is that one? And I throw it by the people I know. Is that one that we can even approach? Is that one that can even be dealt with? And we still would anyway approach them. But we were dealing with them thinking, okay, But it looked like they were liking Prop 22. Every stupid state likes this Prop 22 on first pitch because it's the only one on their desk. You got to remember they have 600 issues, each lawmaker or senator, state or U.S., to solve in a day. And they're handed by their aides that morning. Here's everything you got to deal with on the floor today. So they're literally like many of us were in high school, cheating or reading before like 5 minutes before the test. Holy shit. Okay, I know where I stand on this. And they get reports from their aides like, okay, we had 15 people write in they want to be employees. How many wrote in that didn't want to be? None. Okay, but the problem is that we showed here in Colorado was that take whatever number you have, multiply it by 1,000, and that's how many people, minimal, just didn't write in but want the opposite. And so U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy was actually handed some files that we were working on with the state legislators. So suck on it, people. If you think that you can't make a difference, again, I shouldn't say it too harshly because I used to believe that. I used to think, how much does my voice actually matter? You know, when it comes to voting or this, that, and the other, how much does my voice actually matter? And I actually believed that for a long time. I still voted. I still did things. But it took me a long time, and it took me moving and hanging out with other people who showed me, well, don't always think that that person on the national level who you elected is going to help you out. You need to get in with the state level stuff or your local. And I started realizing this is actually really true. This is where things are done. And they kick it up sometimes. But U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy, U.S. Senator from Louisiana, headed this. And he used part of our information. How awesome is that? U.S. Senator Tim Scott is on board from South Carolina. U.S. Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. They were all on board of this. So this is not a political affiliation claim at all. I am just letting you know, to the people we reached out to who reached back and said, hey, wait, what are you talking about? We want to understand this. And I'm going to play a little video here because it actually made mainstream media yesterday. And it's important that I come back at the end and tell you guys what this means because, I mean, some of you will pick up on it, but I don't want you, that's why I mentioned Prop 22 first. So let's just watch this. It's a minute and a half or something. Yeah, a minute 30. So this is what I just could capture yesterday. Check it out. Listen.
Contractors working across the United States. It is part of a push to modernize the so-called gig economy. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble has the details for us tonight.
Republican senators are introducing a set of bills that would let companies like Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash offer their gig workers benefits without reclassifying them as employees. That means the roughly 27 million Americans who work as independent contractors like Uber drivers would be eligible for sick leave, health insurance, and retirement plans. But under these bills, they would still be considered independent contractors even while receiving these benefits. Senate Help Committee Chair Bill Cassidy introduced the legislation alongside Senators Rand Paul and Tim Scott. He says gig workers and companies are governed by century-old laws and argues the U.S. needs new laws for the new economy.
Right now, there is a legal perception that if the company contracting with the worker gives them benefits like a 401k, that it is a traditional employer-employee. We give a safe harbor for that business and effectively a safe harbor for the employee, allowing them to keep their freedom.
The National Employment Law Project, which advocates on behalf of gig workers, is speaking out against this legislation, saying Senator Cassidy's bill would do nothing to make real benefits such as comprehensive health insurance and retirement plans more affordable for legitimate independent contractors. But the lawmakers proposing these.
So what you guys need to take away from that, if you're already thinking, well, wait a minute, that sounds a bit like Prop 22. Well, doesn't it? The thing that didn't happen in there is they didn't say 120% of BS active time pay. They're just saying, what I've been telling you, we need to solidify the independent contractor part first so that we can take the fight head on. And we've been doing this state by state. It's been a headache nightmare, and we'll continue to do it. I mean, Kim Cavan, Karen Anderson, I got to always shout these people out. Mike Karubi, John Lopez, we have a couple new shout outs that I got to throw in there. Leah Palagashvili. And if you guys have never heard me say that before, because it's hard to say, she is an economist at our Mercatus Center. And then State Representative Harry Benton of Illinois' 97th district. All these people have gotten super involved, and they have helped us so much. And I just want to give these shout outs because we were getting information to them that they needed to understand that before we can get to the what do you guys really need, they were so confused by all of this because, as I said a long time ago, we never had a hybrid definition for being a traditional gig worker. I spoke earlier about working for laser company, doing lighting, that kind of stuff. That's independent contractorship that would be jeopardized as well if, like in what they're pushing in New Jersey right now that Kim and I discussed last week, they're trying to wipe out all 1.7 million independent contractors, no matter what you do. So like me doing lasers, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to do the gig apps. Instead, I would have to pick one and become a W-2. And I think you guys all know this. If you didn't watch that video, go back and watch it, because every single senior advisor for every gig app was at that meeting and spoke. And Kim and I have it all on video. We shared the big speeches with you guys. And they all said they'll vacate the state. They all said this doesn't work. They said we will never do a W-2 model. The Truckers Association was there saying that almost 50% of New Jersey truckers are owner-operated. They would leave the state, or they said that they would not move to the W-2 model. They would just simply do what California did during Dynamics and just kind of find other work elsewhere and try and piecemeal some things together. Not a good solution. Again, literally, no joke. During that hearing, they had no, it's the same thing as AB5. I mentioned it to Kim as on steroids because they had zero jobs that were going to open. They didn't say, we're going to remove your status. It's gone. You can't do this. You're screwed. But we're going to give you all these jobs. And here's how it laid out. In California, they at least tried to lie. We're going to take away this. And they took away the rights of 501c3 nonprofits that I know, businesses of 40 years plus, gone. I mean, demolished businesses, not just gig. This wasn't just a gig work thing. But what they're doing there is they're saying no exceptions. Everybody will fall. And unlike California, who lied and said, we're going to produce all these jobs, didn't produce any. We have had experts on the show, and we have challenged experts who are on the pro AB5 side. What the hell did you guys create? They came up with nothing. Nothing. And I'm not kidding. Like, if you're thinking, really, it's zero, I don't know. Maybe it's 5 or 15, but they didn't. They killed 2.3 million careers and people's right to earn, and they did not make even 10,000 new jobs. So how in the hell did that help anything? Because all the people that lost their jobs were paying their taxes. So now what? Anyway, AB5 was a huge disaster. This is AB5 on steroids, and the rest of the country is watching it. So you guys make sure that you, I'll put it after the show, I'll put it down there, but make sure you hit that New Jersey campaign because you don't have to live there to fight for it. But again, I do want to give a shout out to Rand Paul, Tim Scott, and specifically Bill Cassidy, because I was working with his state legislative team, not his, but other legislators who I was waiting to hear back from them or for them to join our group. We had 2 aides in our group from Louisiana, and they kept assuring me, don't worry, this is being seen and heard. And all of a sudden, I mean, I heard about this last week, but I was like, okay, well, let's see something. I want to see something. Well, on national news yesterday, they dropped it, that Bill Cassidy's spearheading this. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like, right on, Bill Cassidy. I don't even know you, man. But right on. I hope you're a good guy, because what you just did was huge for us. You're putting a definitive definition down on independent contractor, and he's allowing what I talked about on the podcast on Monday. If you guys heard on the podcast on Monday, I said, I'm going to put this on the side. We might get to it today. I said we might not, but we're going to be talking about it, which was the what do we call it? Mobile benefits or portable benefits. Sorry, guys. Portable benefits. I said we're going to put that to the side because I was waiting to hear something back. But that's what he's talking about there. There will be portable benefits. You got to realize even W-2 workers need to realize. I have heard about W-2 workers. I have family even. I don't want to give, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I've had family lose their savings account accrued, or they match this and that and whatever. They've been fired or let go or furloughed or they quit or whatever, and they lost part of their retirement during all these hits. Well, a lot of people, when they're taking a job, count on that money. Like if they're told when they're being hired, you're paid this much, but you get these perks, they're counting on those perks. So if they leave and they're like, those perks are gone, that's why many people have had conversations with the portable benefits will come into play with W-2 workers too. I mean, it's just going to be because we don't live in the 50s anymore where you graduate. I used this example on Monday where I would have I'm originally from Michigan, all my family in Detroit. They would graduate if they went to college or whatever they did, they would graduate and they'd go to work for Ford. When they retired, they would still be working for Ford 50 years later. You had one job, you had one career. Nowadays, even somebody graduating from college is going to have, what was the average, 5 to 8 different careers in whatever you graduate in. Now, last week, we heard that AI by 2027 will eliminate 25 to 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs. Okay, well, why? Now you're getting to why even go to college. I mean, my son's about to go to college, so I'm not dogging on it, and I like his decision. But I'm just saying, it's something to think about. Because if they're already and we know how fast AI moving, how secure are you at your W-2? And I'm not challenging you guys. If you have a great W-2, keep it. Love it. If you love what you do, sweet. Because the most important thing in life is that you're happy. I mean, it is. It's the most important thing. If you make, maybe you have the ability to make $200,000 a year, but you choose to make 50 because doing that $200,000 a year, you hate your life, you hate everything. You are done at work, you go home, you go to bed. You get up, you do your job. What life is that? So if, at least we have the flexibility. It's something we can always claim to. During some bad times, we can try and pivot. Do enough people pivot outside of their comfort zone? I don't think so, but that's my personal opinion. I think that this gig economy thing has been amazing for all of us to have a way to go. And I'm not saying you need to be a woodworker or you're an artist that builds things out of trash or something, and you're just waiting for that moment. I'm just saying this is a great opportunity to be open all the time to what other opportunities are out there. Because you are an independent contractor by definition, by taxes, by everything, by flexibility alone. No job in this country, I'll repeat it over and over because people need to hear it. No job in this country lets you go on a W-2 I'm going to work right now. I don't feel like it. I'm going to work right now for 10 hours. I'm going to work tomorrow for 5. I'm going to schedule it. No, I'm going to cancel that because I decided I don't want to do that. It's supposed to be nice. I don't want to take my kid to the park. Oh, I got a family emergency. Oh, I got this to do. You are able to run your life. No W-2 ever gives you that. And if anybody out there says otherwise, you're lying. You're straight up lying, dude. I mean, there are jobs, salary, hourly, whatever, W-2 jobs that are great that you might love, but don't even tell me that you control your destiny as a W-2 worker. You don't. You live by a schedule. That's your schedule. It's much harder to be an independent contractor. Starting your own business is hard. So when I hear people saying the gig apps are just killing me, I get it. I feel your pain. But at the same time, that's how self-employed people feel around the country all the time. Oh my God, I'm struggling so bad. So if you are, maybe you're trying to open a little shop, or you're trying to open a little bakery or something, and you can do this on all the off hours. That's going to be able to let you have some income coming in while you're building a business and can't pay yourself. There are just, and I'm not saying that's the only thing, it's anything. It's to the part-timers. They're able to do this when they want, for how long they want. I mean, there's just so many advantages. My bottom line thing has been, do you really want everything kicked out from under you before you even have a chance to do something with the status that you've been allowed? And now, under the Bill Cassidy, Tim Scott, Rand Paul national legislation that actually is also meant to dupe out the PRO Act. And those of you, I won't go down that road, but if you've heard me talk about the PRO Act before, we've spoken about it many times here. That was to dismantle on a national level all independent contractors like New Jersey and California did. They were trying to do that nationally during the last administration. That failed. The PRO Act people are still there pushing it, though. So this is really good to see, because they're saying, yeah, we're not doing about this 120% fake time that you guys use, that we'll sue you for that later kind of thing. But they're saying that, yeah, let's let them have portable benefits. Makes sense. Because again, it is a hybrid. So if you're now saying like, well, but that's not independent contractorship if they're paying you some portable benefits, it is if they're letting the companies call us independent contractors, which they need to do. They need to do it so bad that they'll jump all over this bill and help us out by being defined finally as independent contractors. At that point, a whole new can of worms comes up, and you guys end up in the same position I did. When your state says, hey, let's have Prop 22, all of a sudden Prop 22 is going to look awful to people. But on top of that, you're going to have that, let's do Prop 22. Why? Let's do transparency. I mean, again, I'm networking. I've been networking for years through Mike, through Kim, through Karen, all these people in different states, through John's in Chicago, Mike's up in the Boston area, Kim's in New Jersey, Karen's out in California and LA. And these are like all the professionals. And outside of that, our whole group, and they've helped me network in. And so we've really got to a lot of, and I want to shout out Kevin Kiley too, out of California. That's another good. I'm just pointing out some people who I've not fully digested everything that they stand for politically, but from what I've seen, these are people fighting for us to have the right to be independent workers, while an entire group of people, a huge group, is pushing for, they don't know what they want, make them employees, let's tax the crap out of them, and hey, these unions want to take a piece of their money too. Okay, well, first of all, the gig apps already told you they'll leave, and they will. And to those people who, I've had people comment on videos and go, well, they have before. They have had to change things before. The only time they had to change things and did was here in Colorado. They wanted Prop 22. They found out that we were going to fight for transparency instead and didn't even want it. And all of a sudden, dude, when they hear Prop 22, the gig apps, they run to your state to sign it into law right away. So they go, whoo, we thought you guys were going to somehow realize this is a horrible deal, but you didn't. And now we just signed it into law. So you guys are screwed. Because now they control the algorithm too of how much you're fed. You've now given control to the company that you hate to decide how much and how often you'll work and where you'll go and all this crap. But nonetheless, if we could start getting these other states to go with transparency instead, once we did that here, this almost non-existent fund to fight a Prop 22 battle became like 10 times as much money dumped in by all the gig apps, because they were like, wait, you don't want Prop 22, you want transparency? Well, hold on a minute. We're going to all have to ante up and kick into this to fight that. We can't have that. Really? We can't have transparency. Then we can't be labeled independent contractors. That was our fight. We're going to be taking it to other states. And now we can take it to every damn state because this is being pushed. We still were going to anyway, because state by state will decide how those states operate. However, a piece of federal legislation saying, hey, we're allowing this as long as certain amounts of money are being put into their portable benefits, And as long as they have the freedom and flexibility to choose how and when and where they work. Hell, that's almost the definition of what we all talk about weekly on what we want when we do these Zoom meetings. But it's amazing how many more politicians and lobbyists. We have lobbyists that show up in there, and nobody's in there. Like, if you guys are thinking, am I sitting there going, I'm going to yell at this person? No, I'm stoked when they're in there because I want to hear what they have to say. Sometimes they don't say much at all, I'll be honest. But sometimes when they do speak, even if it's like a bit cryptic, I read into it. I'm trying to figure out, like, what's your angle here? Because even during the court cases here that were pushed, I was involved and I was right there. And when they were using my podcast notes on the Senate floor, the lobbyists became interested in who I was, whereas opposed to like an hour before that, before the Senate floor meeting, I was asking the lobbyists questions like, get out of my way, nobody. But then they realized, oh, that's the guy they were referencing. And then I had questions. They were like, wait, I'll talk to you. Oh, so I have to be somebody? And I'm not. I'm just saying that, like, the lobbyists don't have, your elected officials have to speak to you, or their aides do. The lobbyists do not have to speak to you at all. Those are paid lobbyists to do what they're told to do. And if they want to talk to you, it's probably for a bad reason. I'll say that. They're never looking to, like, well, I'd love to sit down and buy you lunch and see how we could help the drivers. That's not something that will ever come out of their mouths. But okay, real quick, and then I'll jump in the chat and see where you guys are at before we shut this down. But I wanted you all to know that even the thumbnail I put up of Taylor Swift was not clickbait, because I worked for Taylor Swift for 3 days. I couldn't have worked for Taylor Swift for 3 days if I wasn't an independent contractor. So it's not clickbait. There was a reason why. It says save independent work between her legs. Sure it does. But you know what? That's just to grab you. But I'm also pointing out that it's legit. So, but next Tuesday is the next conversation. It had been on Thursdays. Next Tuesday, it will be at, what did we decide? 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. And my guest will be John Lopez. He is in Chicago. And we will be talking about gig worker unions in Chicago. And John is a master. Like, John knows all this stuff. John is he knows independent contractor work and law inside and out. He knows workers' rights inside and out. And he also, oddly, his third trait that he has that he really brings to the table, and it always seems to fit in when I have John on here, is John has an understanding of mental health. And it's always refreshing, because, you might think, well, okay, well, how does that play into this? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I mean, he has a lot of his work he does in Chicago is mental health. So John is a great guest. He's amazing. And we'll be going through what this gig app worker union that's hitting the rideshare community and about to come after the delivery space as well. What we need to know, and was there a win? I think there was potentially, by then, I think potentially we'll have a semi-win, but we'll have to hear it from John. So let me jump over to the chat. Let me see who else lost count back. All right. I keep seeing this damn McDonald's thing. Damn it, Bobby. Mr. DSN, it's brutal for me right now. But a lot of the reasons are, yeah, okay. Yeah, you and I were texting and you said something about that. So sorry about whatever's going on for you. I hope you're getting through it, bro. Let's see. A lot of you are saying hi to each other. I'm just trying to get through anything anybody might have asked. Bobby says apps are great as usual for me. Bobby's market seems to be some vortex that always works. I'm not really sure. In one way or another, he's got it locked down. So, yeah. Oh, you're mentioning a word. I saw Tim Gigwise in here, and he hates this word. So, Tim, this one's for you. Pivot. Oh, man. And there's Tim right there. Don't tell me what to do. I just did, man. Let's see. Yeah, hey, Drain the Swamp 53. Yeah, this isn't a political thing. I mean, we did talk about some politicians who are pushing for something very good for us, but let's see. Yeah, that's something we're going to be talking about next week. We're talking about next week. We're talking about tax on tips, the reality versus what everybody thinks. And I'm not saying either's wrong, but definitely neither is right. That's all I'll leave it at for now. At least for the gig space. Like two W-2 workers who work in a bar or restaurant, which a bar or restaurant minimum wage pay can be different than minimum wage. It's usually around half or whatever because they get tips. So because that's expected, then they enter their tips and it's declared against that, and their paycheck is all based on that. So if you're W-2, you're definitely going to get the exemption. And I know there was verbiage put in about the gig apps, but there's also some verbiage that is tricky in there that is a little loophole in case they want to pull it. So we'll see. Hey, what's up, Brandon? How you doing, man? It's been a minute. You were supposed to come out here this winter, man. I was all set for you. The real workers, what is this? The real workers aren't fighting for pay. They're fighting for rights as independent contractors. Yeah, because, I mean, listen, the first, I'm going to hit on Bobby's comment there because it's very important. Listen, the first thing you guys should realize is that if your state comes up with Prop 22 and every gig app flies on the next flight to your state to sign it into law, doesn't that seem like a problem? I'm just saying. Doesn't that seem like a problem to you that they're like, yes, we got to, it's like they're fishing without bait. And they're just like, oh, somebody bit the hook without a worm on it. Like, they're literally like so stoked to go sign it into law. That should worry you alone. If the gig apps want it that bad, and they're like, dude, this is awesome. We get complete control of you this way. I mean, that alone, that's not a win. And I know I've talked to so many people in California. Trust me, I've talked to the people. I had Vina Dubal on this podcast, you guys. Some of you might have heard it. I don't know. If you haven't, go back and listen. She was one of the first people I had on the damn podcast. But I had her on at a time when AB5 had passed and it had just started. It was like 2020, and it was maybe like 8 months or 7 months in, because it was right before the vote or something on Prop 22, but the AB5 portion. She's the professor of law at University of California, Hastings, and she was one of the drafters of AB5. So that is out there too. I mean, I do have both sides on there. Let's see. Let's see. Shoot, I'd like to make 50K here again. And I mean, this isn't direct to Brandon's town, but I had a discussion recently with somebody about, like somewhere, let's say Lincoln, Nebraska. Okay. And they were like, dude, you're talking about how much you can make in Denver, and you're killing it compared to me. Dude, at the end of the month, it's very likely that the person in Lincoln has more money left in his bank account than I do, because cost of living alone is the number one factor. And cost of living in Denver compared to Lincoln, Nebraska, you can just, whatever earnings you think that I had more than you, just take those away, because they're gone anyway for me just to live here. So don't think that because somebody tells you their market is bomb. Also take into effect where they're talking about that they live. I mean, even in your own state, take a big city, the biggest city, and take it compared to a rural city. In the rural city, you don't need to make anywhere near as close as you do in the big city. You're not dealing with apartment buildings so much. You're not dealing with parking tickets, this, that, and the other. And I mean, just, Sorry, Tim. I know that word is like, it's like moist with me. That's my word. I hate that word. Can't deal with it. That word is just, I mean, I can. I've learned to get past it, but I just can't deal with it. That word is just disgusting. And for some reason, I can hear anything else in the world, things I would never say on this podcast. But for some reason, that word bothers the hell out of me. Yeah, I mean, Brandon, but you're an example of somebody who, I mean, even this that you're doing, Grandpa's Random Reviews, you're an example of somebody who does other things. You took advantage of you doing DoorDash when it was great in your market, and now you do these reviews. It's led you to other things. It taught you how to do YouTube. It taught you other things that led you down a road where now you are an independent contractor, like it or not, Brandon. You're my brother. You're my friend. I love you, but you're an independent contractor. Like it or not, you are, because you do other things. And we all are. But I'm just saying, there are these type of opportunities you can just, jump on and do other things. So, thank you. I mean, again, guys, I'll show it to you. I did load it up. So next week is the conversation. This with John Lopez, and don't miss it. It's gonna be awesome. But this was the one I put out to set, and I in the title of the community post I made, I said, I can't remember what it was. Don't miss the conversation. I said, and then in the smaller print I put, have I got your attention yet? So thumbnails can be powerful. And it's not clickbait because everything on there is real. I'm just saying. Hey, Gig Economy Podcast. Thank you, my friend. And guys, when we're done here, I know that probably going to be done before they start, but they start their weekly podcast in 19 minutes, I believe. So go over there and check out Jason and Larry. Those guys are cool. You leave the Queen Taylor alone. I like it better when Josh used to call her Tay. Tay. Don't mess with Tay Tay. Yeah. Hey man, we're gonna make it happen, Brandon, for real. Because I know it's a bucket list thing for you, and for me, it's something I do all the time. I mean, I'm up there doing the search and rescue. I got friends who own snowmobiles, so like, it's not like I all the time can just rent one to another person or two and take them all the time. But when friends come out, I can always rustle up some stuff for us. Whatever we want to do, I can always rustle it up. So we'll make it happen. Yeah. Oh, dude, it's California now. It is Colorado. Cost of living is California now. And yeah, gig wise ain't wrong either, man. Even rural, even whatever, man, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Look up like the most random town in South or North Dakota. Maybe not like out in the woods. Maybe you'd find something, but like look up a town, even a small little town, 5,000 people, whatever. Look that up in one of those states and find a house and go look at and be blown away with what it is. And it doesn't matter where you are anymore. So, yeah, I think that's it, you guys. That's all I really had. Just make sure that you check out next week's The Conversation. It's going to be episode 4. They have all been crazy good. Last week's was the one. Last week's with Kim was fire. If you guys didn't catch it, we kept it right about an hour 10 or something. And it was, we had the, Kim was the only Save Independent Work. Here, I'll put up the banner, or I'll put it up just one more time because I got to advertise for him. If you look in between her legs there, it says saveindependentwork.org. Okay. SaveIndependentWork.org sent down a video crew to the New Jersey hearing, and there was no New Jersey videotaping being done, and there was no streaming being done to the government site. And this was a hearing that any state would have streamed to their government sites so that public could watch. They moved the building last minute. They did everything because of the last experience, and still Kim got SaveIndependentWork.org to get camera crews in there, and we have the full thing. We have Instacart, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. We have the Flex Association head, all their strategy and publicity and strategic planning people, all on videotape, talking about how they'll leave and how, no, it doesn't work as a W-2 model, period, shut up. And they're being honest, guys. To the people who have said, well, in some states they've been pushed into things. No, in some states they've signed up for Prop 22 because they're laughing at the people who pushed it. And this is why I always tell you guys, make sure that make sure you realize that somebody, if somebody's pushing Prop 22, it's like, and I'm not kidding, in most of the states we've looked into, it's not many more than like 20 people. I'm not even joking, you guys. I'm not saying 20 and I mean 200 or 2,000. There's like 20 people writing in or going in to see their congressman, or whatever, and they're saying, hey, we want Prop 22. Well, then they don't hear from any of us, or didn't until we started getting loud. But they didn't hear from any of us, and they thought, well, that's what they must want. They were basing the whole thing on 20 people writing in, or what. And I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. I mean, look at the mess California's in now. Like I said earlier, half of them want out of Prop 22, and they were the union types who were out there pushing. I won't name names, but I have a whole list of names that only because I'm on YouTube, I'd get doxxed for it. But publicly, I should name them. I'll find a platform to do it on, and I will do it because they should be named. Because they are all, in fact, one of them, for sure, we know, is a union or makes a huge salary to go out there as a gig worker and say, I only do gig work and I'm fighting. She's a huge union person, huge, but she makes six figures. And when I say that, I'm not saying she makes just barely 100,000. She makes over $200,000 a year. She doesn't do any gig work. She was a huge push for AB5. Maybe that's enough hints for you guys. Check it out. But realize that union shills come in and do things. There's so much weird stuff. Politics is a nightmare. It's a mind grenade. Hey, thanks, Jason. Again, guys, we are 14 minutes away from Jason starting his show. Go check them out because I am sweating in this room. As Josh put it, seems to be my new studio. My son is going to college in 6 weeks. And after 11 years here, Jesus, all right, 11 or 12 years here, we're moving out of this house finally. And that's a story for another day. So I'm just kind of piecemealing some things while we're starting to finally kind of get our act together here and what's going to be happening. So with that said, I leave you with that. But huge win today. And I think I saw Bobby say something about it. I want to give a major plug to U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy. I don't know much about the guy, but I do know I was talking with people in Louisiana who were very cool. I wasn't sure how far it was really going. And then we saw it kicked up to a level like yesterday where I was already being told this, but I was like, show us something. And then I was told, hey, dude, turn this on right now. Okay, well, I did. And I saw it. So you know what? Awesome. And Tim is saying something about if you love DoorDash, he's the man. Remember, Tim is the new CEO of DoorDash, so he can onboard you in seconds there, brother. No, he's saying check out Tim's channel. I know he changed the name, so some of you guys might be going, what's outdoors mean? Well, it means outdoors. So, but still check him out. All right, guys, that's it. And we always walk out of here with a little bit of a different ending than I do on, and this is because of Gig Geezer. This is because of our friendship. Last Mile, when I'm in the house, always ends with this. Catch you on the next one.
Got to leave. Something's missing that I need. I need to find, yeah, whatever it is that's blowing in my mind. Listen, they say bring up a child and the way he shall go, he shall not depart. And oh, when they said it, oh, she touched my heart, yeah.
For letting us come into your mind tonight. Until the next time.